Rampage began as an arcade game about 3 monsters destroying cities throughout the United States. The player can choose one of 3 monsters: George the Gorilla, Lizzie the Lizard, or Ralph the Wolf. Personally, I own the NES version and played it way more than the arcade. In that version, you only get 2 choices: George and Lizzie. Both monsters were mutated from people, so when you lose a life, you would shrink down to a naked person. George a man and Lizzie a woman. When you press start, the naked human will transform and grow back into a giant beast. In April 2018, we will be getting a movie based on the game. And just like Kong Skull Island, Lennar Toys has a license to make Rampage toys. These toys come with a figure, most of them core veterans, and one of the 3 monsters in different sizes. In the first 3 videos, we will be taking a look at the sets that include the albino silverback gorilla, George. First up is the Canister Contact set with Subject George. This set comes with aka Davis Okaye, the smallest version of George, a barrier, and accessories for Davis. Let's look at George first. Definitely much better than some of the creature contact sets from Skull Island. Even though he is static, I love this version of George. Look at that face. Oh, look at that face. Oh, he's such a good boy. Look at that face, he's a good boy. Once again, he reminds me of those static animals that you could pick up at Michael's Arts and Crafts store. This version of George actually doesn't come with any seams on him, so he is just one solid piece. And he's actually pretty hefty, if you ask me. If we look at his feet, I'm pretty sure that's how a gorilla's feet would be, but I don't know, it looks kind of funny to me. His thumb is really way out. His hands are in that classic gorilla kind of pose right there. And if we look down here, we actually don't get a Lennar trademark, but I believe that's for the movie. So it's a trademark, and it's WBEL. Now we'll take a look at Davis. So this is the very first time that we get to see these kind of figures in my show. So this is from the newer core type of articulation. So let's check that out. He has a swivel at the neck. I don't think he has a, well, I guess it's kind of a ball joint, but it doesn't really stay. But his head can turn from side to side pretty easily. His arm can go up about that far only. It can go all the way around, and he does have a ball joint right at the elbow, so he can turn around, and he can also bend his elbow up and down. There is no wrist articulation. And then he does have some waist articulation right there. I'm pretty sure that's probably a ball underneath, so he can do one of those things. He could hula hoop right there. He has ball joints on the legs, and let's see, you can go up about that far, and yeah, that came out pretty easily. So I guess we gotta be careful with these ones. So his leg can go up about that far, it can come out about that far, and he does have a bend at the knee. And as you can see, it looks like it's coming off pretty easily right there. So you do want to be careful with these new figures of with these ball jointed legs. It looks like they haven't really perfected it yet. So yeah, I feel like I have to keep pushing his leg in, or else it's just kind of hanging out a little. But anyway, that is the articulation of the new figures. It's all right. Yeah, no, actually, the more I think about it, the more I actually do like the articulation. I don't like the thing with the leg, but it might just be this one figure that that has that problem. Now, something else with these figures is that I don't think they could sit down very well. So there, I tried to put them in a sitting position, And I mean, I guess he's all right, but he seems a little loose. But yeah, you can see it doesn't really match up too well. So, but I want to go ahead and try to put him in a classic core vehicle. Okay, so here we have a classic core vehicle, the Attack Fighter, and we're going to go ahead and try to put Davis inside. So, going to move his legs up, put him inside, and how well does he fit in this vehicle? Actually, pretty nicely. I'm a little bit surprised with the whole thing I was having with the legs there, but he fits pretty nicely, and the cockpit also closes pretty nicely on there, so that's pretty cool. So we can still use these old vehicles, which I'm sure we'll be seeing in the next line of the core. By the look on his face, The Rock is not impressed, but the more that I look at him, the more I can smell what Davis is cooking. So by looking at Davis's arms and legs, they come from two villains from the current series of the core, Shrapnel and Impact. But at the time of this video, yeah, the 2017 core have not been, they haven't hit the shelves in my part of the world yet, so I really don't have anything to compare it to except for the pictures on thecoreelite.com. So as I said earlier, this is the first time I am seeing a Leonard figure with this type of articulation aside from Puma and Snakebite, and honestly he feels a little cheap, especially his chest, and that might be because I'm not sure if this chest and back piece, maybe it's just a chest piece, because we can see some detail here, like some ribbing, but then there's nothing on the front. So maybe the front is just a chest piece that they made for this particular figure. So at this moment it's unique. And I've looked at the figures on thecoreelite.com, and none of them seem to have this chest. So for now, it's unique to Davis here, but there are some figures that haven't come out yet, and maybe those are the ones that will be having this torso piece here. Of course, we do see the printed trademarked WBEL again on the back of his leg. So that kind of goes with George again. And but going back to the way he feels, you guys saw the leg fall off twice actually, and like I said, his chest feels kind of cheap, and this kind of worries me for the new core figures, and hopefully they won't feel like this. Even when I was putting his arm off to the side, you can see that he looks like he's splitting right here. So I'm not sure if on this side he looks okay, but on this side over here it looks like he's splitting already. So hopefully it's just this figure, he's just kind of like that. That's how he was molded, and hopefully it's not anything that will be happening with the rest of the core figures. Now Davis does come with a few accessories. He comes with a communicator, some binoculars, a big knife, a rifle, and this backpack right here. Now all of these are molded in gold plastic, but there's nothing to fear because I highly doubt that these weapons will succumb to the gold plastic syndrome, because these are, especially the knife is a little forgiving. This also is pretty forgiving. I'm sure this could still break, but right here in the middle it feels really solid. And this also is a little bit, I don't know, it feels like it might be a little bit softer than usual plastic, especially from the 80s, the gold plastic that would constantly break. So I don't think we really have to worry too much about these pieces breaking on us. One thing that I found to be odd about this weapon is that the barrel is painted in red. The other sets also have the same thing going on, and I don't know why that is. Somebody in the core Facebook page said that it was something shooting out, but it's definitely not. This is a rifle, and that's the barrel right there. So I mean, unless this thing is shooting really long spears, and maybe this is like a thing of cotton or something that's supposed to be flaming, and it just shoots out these flaming torches. I don't know why this would be in red. There's just no reason for it, really. I mean, maybe it's something in the movie. The movie hasn't come out yet as of this review, so maybe that's what it could be. But yeah, no, this is totally a sniper rifle. Scope, barrel, magazine. I don't know why it's red. Something that I really, really like about Davis and all of his pieces is that he can actually hold on to everything. So the way that I usually like to do it, well, I mean, if you want him to carry everything, you can give him his knife, give him the communicator, so he's holding on to both of those pieces. And then we put the backpack on him, and the backpack has this notch right here, which I thought might be for the binoculars, but they don't fit. I thought the phone fit on there, that didn't fit. I thought the knife would fit on there, and then this, I was like, well, and how do you put this on there? Well, you actually put the scope fits right on there perfectly, as you can see the shape right there, and that fits perfectly to this, because on the scope there's these two little pieces that kind of stick out, and that kind of goes in there. So you just kind of fit that right in, and you can see it's a perfect fit. So he can actually hold on to that. And then finally, this can just go into his gun holster on his leg. Unfortunately, it doesn't stay very well, but it will stay there enough to display the figure. If you're running around with it, or if a kid's running around with it or something, that will fall. Another thing is the backpack doesn't really fit very well. Well, it won't stay. It fits great, but it won't stay on his back. It's pretty loose. So I would suggest maybe some poster putty on there, or just don't really touch it or anything. It kind of reminds me of Puma's backpack when it's pointing down. So the way that I had it on my videos, how I said the backpack was loose on Puma and Snakebite, that's pretty much how his backpack attaches to him. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say backpack, I meant to say crossbow. So the way that the crossbow fits on the girls, that's how the backpack fits on Davis here. But it should still be alright. It's not horrible. It's not going to just fall off just for no reason at all. But man, I do love it when action figures can hold on to all of their items. Another accessory that we get is this canister that mutates George into a giant ape. So this is made from two different pieces, but it doesn't come apart. I've tried to pull it, twist it, push it, pass it, bop it, and nothing. This thing does not go. But anyway, this thing has a crack on there, so I'm assuming that's where like the gas or whatever comes out of right there. On the side, I don't know why I would have this fan here, but there's a fan, and then there's that part, and the rest of it is just a very generic looking canister. And the last part of this set is the Barricade. It's from the core toy line, and now we can add more to the wall that came with the Core Elite Titan tank. Now, I think my absolute favorite part of this Barricade is the decal. I mean, that's my hometown right there, San Diego, and that's actually where this is coming from. So, although I've never ever heard of a wildlife sanctuary here, I mean, there's a wild animal park, maybe that's what they're talking about. We also have the world famous San Diego Zoo, at least that's what we call it here. Oh, and then we also have SeaWorld. So there's that right there, but no, there's nothing that's really called the San Diego Wildlife Sanctuary. And it also doesn't say come explore your wild side. So that must be made either for the movie or just for the playset. But I definitely think that is super cool. I really love that. And another thing I like about the Barricade decal is the artwork. It's super 70s. And but more importantly, it reminds me of my favorite album of all time, the 1966 Beach Boys' Pet Sounds. It's the same color scheme, and the design is very mid-century modern. Sorry about that. Yeah, the design is very mid-century modern, so that is really good. But you know, I feel like I've seen that monkey somewhere else before. I mean, I've typed in monkey logo and on a browser and checked the images, and I saw so many monkey logos that look like this. So maybe I'm just confusing it with one of those that I've seen before, because it's just really funny that a lot of people would see a monkey the same way. Even with the static George and the cheapness of Davis, I still really like this set. It's totally worth it for $10. It's kind of a look into the future of the core. I hope you enjoyed this review of the 2018 Rampage Canister Contact Set with Subject George. And next time, we'll be looking at the Big City Brawl George set.